Risk and reward are two concepts I've never adequately understood. As a person with manic depressive tendencies, I've taken far too many risks when I felt high and on top of the world, and paid the price for it, often plunging me into the perceived doldrums of depression, in which I would take no risks at all, and in the process miss golden opportunities staring me in the face. Last week I talked about the importance of timing, how the phrase, "he who hesitates is lost," can be bad advice if the timing is not right. In college we once hesitated after a light turned green, and as we pressed the accelerator, were dumbstruck as we saw the broad side of a full-size pickup truck barreling through the red light at well over the speed limit. In that case, hesitation saved our car, if not our lives. But on Sunday I had the chance to go surfing and was reminded of the truth of the admonition when my hesitation to commit to waves had me wiping out unnecessarily. If you've chosen a course and committed to a goal, and all your momentum is toward the goal, pulling back at the last second can be disastrous. In extreme cases, he who hesitates is lost can rightly be upgraded to he who hesitates is dead. There's always a risk of failure, but most of my failures have been of the timing variety. Trying too hard too soon because I'm carried away by the emotion of the moment, or hesitating out of cowardice because my inner traitor tells me I'm destined to lose anyway. No matter, what's the point? While it may not seem obvious at first glance, competition with its associated risks and rewards is an integral part of building a better me. So today it's all about risk and reward, competition and consequence as I meditate on biting the bullet in this week's edition of Building a Better Me.
Greetings, lords and ladies.
Greetings. Man, I'm not feeling good.
Ford's sick.
Yeah.
He says he's got a fever.
A buddy of ours got encephalitis last week. Just visited him in the hospital yesterday. That sucks. It's bad. I mean, in case you didn't know. So my mind was starting to worry, like, what if I had encephalitis? I think that lyric to the song Building a Better Me, from which this series has gotten its name, has a line, "My soul went searching for a cause, but came back empty-handed. In the emptiness you see, I'm building a better me." And I think one of the problems with searching for a cause is you tend to throw a lot of parts out from you that fit you, that you maybe they're just part of you. And so a lot of times in my life, I've done this binge purge thing where I would be like, I did this all the time since the time I was a kid. I would like, I'm not gonna play video games anymore. And I would like sell all my Nintendo and everything. I'm not gonna surf anymore. And I'd sell my surfboard. And yeah, that has been a recurring theme in my life, is this binge purge sort of thing. There's something in humanity that we need like some competition. Video games have, I don't know, been a form of that for me. So rediscovering that's been pretty useful if I can keep it in check. And so we found a way to kind of keep that in check. And another thing I started doing was playing poker. I started playing with some of the guys on the dock last year when I was working on the docks, and I never won. I didn't know what I was doing. And last night I decided I was going to take this lesson I learned from Surfing Sunday, relearned about, you just got to commit. There's sometimes you just have to go. You got to know when to hold up.
No
when to fold up. That's an old country song.
I don't actually know what comes after that. It's literally the only two lines I know.
Last night I finally had my first win at poker.
Yes, it was nice. I show up at work and the guys are like, "Hey, congratulations. Heard your old man won."
But poker has taught me a lot about risk and reward. And a lot of times, like I said last week, there is this tendency to rush into stuff for me because I feel the emotion of the moment. I do this in League of Legends. I do this in poker. I do this with surfing. I'm going to go when I'm feeling high, when I'm feeling on top of the world. But then the problem is, even if you win, even if it goes well, riding that wave of emotion only goes so far, and then when it's over, you just crash.
And that's the thing. You can't go with gusto because then you've given it all. You've spent it all.
Yeah.
And then you burn out and then done. And that's why the process is important. The journey, it's important.
There is a real balance. You can really only learn that through experience. When is the appropriate time to really bite the bullet, or to push for the sail, or to, go for the wave.
Because it's true. Just like you said, there is a point when you're ready. And then you should go with gusto. And
you have to.
There is a time for that. There are times in life when you shouldn't be so measured and balanced. There's time to really run with it, but
you have to really take your time, know when to really strike. Like you can't give your 100% the entire time because your energy level is finite. You know, I think this is probably true in a lot of sports. You know, you just have to know, like, okay, oh, now is the time. I've got to turn it on, like right here. And boxing, I'm realizing that, because that's another thing that, you know, I'll be like, oh, and I'll just hit the bag like crazy for 10, 20 seconds, and then you know, by the end of the 3-minute round, I'm like, oh God. When you allow that much adrenaline to flow through you too soon, it can really just take it out of you for the moment when you need to be ready to strike. So it's pacing. I think it's all about pacing. And so last night I thought it was a good lesson for me. I started to lose it. I won a couple hands early that just put me in chip leader for almost the entire. And then in about the last hour, I got in a bad position, and I didn't think I was going to work myself back from it. But I made some decisive moves and was able to get it back. And so, yeah, I think I learned my lesson from Sunday. So I learned it with poker. Now, if I could only learn it with you know, real money and real business opportunities, that'll take a little more time, I guess. But all that to say, I think, you know, there's more to life than just what's in your head. And a lot of these things are integrated. And that's part of the whole experiment of the surfing violinist has always been, is I'm not a specialist. My goal is to be a Renaissance man of sorts. And I think in our era, it's very difficult to want to do that because everyone's kind of trying to force you into a mold. And while that has worked for, you know, better part of the last couple hundred years, and especially in our century, we're starting to realize that some of these atomized, isolated skill sets are not going to work in a post-digital, post-internet world. I mean, you're doing like how many different types of jobs right now? Like, I don't know, 4?
Yeah.
I mean, like 4 or 5. I'm doing about 4 or 5. And obviously, we're not a model of success. I mean, like when it comes to finances.
Oh, I can do 4 or 5 things. I have to do 4 or 5 things.
Yeah, and it's not the path for everyone. I mean, there's always going to be room for specialists. But I think certain specialties, it's not a bad idea to keep some of those other options on the table, some of those things that you're good at, and not to just write them off because it doesn't seem like there's a market for them now. That, you know, it might be something that you're passionate about actually could be a side job. You know, I mean, it's totally possible. Like poker, you know, like there are people who play professionally poker. Now that's not a goal for me right now. There are people who play League of Legends professionally. It's not a goal for me right now. But we're much more accepting of traditional things like, you know, cricket in India, or American football, or basketball, or baseball, because that's you know, what people are expecting. But there's a whole new world of competition. There's a whole new world of sports. There are whole new worlds of opportunities that may seem like distractions, I guess is what I'm kind of getting at, where people say, well, you could spend your time better. And it's like, well, I mean, we could probably spend our time better in cricket too, or football, or whatever. But just because you like something doesn't necessarily mean that you can't learn something from it. I learned something from poker, from boxing, and surfing this week, and there are all 3 things that, you know, I think 10 years ago I'd have been tempted to be like, oh, I shouldn't do this. This is a waste of time. Well, that's just about it. Stay strong.
Stay glorious.
Keep going. And if you're having a hard time doing that, hold on.
Hold on.
Let's build a better me.